Shohei Ohtani to the Dodgers confirmed. Join us on today's episode where we talk about our trade deadline predictions on this action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, and you can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew ONeill, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_ONeill. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, can you please leave us a 5-star rating and review if you like what you hear? If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel, also drops you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, subscribe to us on the Subtext website for an in-depth, personalized one-on-one experience through text messages where you get instant alerts for prospect call-ups, injuries, a lot much more than we can provide on this 30-minute podcast. And on today's episode, we got a fully loaded one for you guys, talking about our trade deadline predictions. As always, let us be your team's secret weapon while we give you the best fantasy baseball information possible. Matt, is it confirmed? Is Ohtani going to the Dodgers? What's the deal, brother? Let's talk about it.
So, I mean, from everything I'm reading that, Mr. Shohei Ohtani is going to get the trade, it seems like the most likely candidate should be the Dodgers, the evil empire. If you guys were with us last year, we came out with the whole, evil empire, graphic and stuff, because, they just go out there and snag every single player under the sun, and any big name they are always in the mix for. And they have a plethora. And when I say a plethora of prospects out there to go and trade, I mean, it's just unreal. And the best part about getting Ohtani is he's not just one position. He's your hitter and your pitcher. So you're getting an ace caliber with probably one of the best bats in all of baseball. So, I could totally see it happening. It's funny though, because if you go off and you look at like names like Michael Bush, they have that they can give up. They can give up, picks. They can give up Gavin Stone, Papidio, Leonardo, Freeland. They can give up Dustin May. They can give up Vargas. They can give up all these names that are just so valuable to any other team where they are not making the room for them because they're a win now team. They love to just draft these awesome players, then dish them out like candy for teams to draw in their big players. So, I mean, Shohei Ohtani is going to be like one of these lights out trades, like probably bigger than what, the Padres gave up for Juan Soto. So quite honestly, I could see some massive names going for Shohei Ohtani, and Angels looking to turn it around and start young anyway, outside of Trout, because that guy just owns part of the team at this point. So you can't really get rid of him. So Shohei Ohtani, I think, is on the move. I think he is going to the Dodgers, and there's no way around it.
Yeah, Matt, I'm on board with you. And then even, on top of what you mentioned, there's Diego Cartaya, there's Miguel Vargas, Andy Pages. I think you said Dustin May, Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan. Honestly, they could just mix and match a package of those guys. And you know what? The Angels make out, because the whole thing is the Angels have to get something. I don't think Ohtani goes back. They've had him and Trout there for, a couple years at this point. They haven't been in contention, and it's just really, you're wasting Ohtani's time. You're wasting your own time. You're wasting the talent. So, you know what? Ohtani's going to leave one way or another. There's no way he resigns. Go out and trade him, get something. He's already in Los Angeles. He doesn't have to go anywhere else. So, you know what? I really, really see this one happening. Maybe some other dark horse comes out of the woodworks and, takes it. But the Dodgers really need it. The big thing with the Dodgers is they're not really the team they have been in the past. They are in first place, but they're only in their division. They're only 2 games ahead of the Diamondbacks and the Giants. The Giants are, a garbage team. I hate to say it like that. But you know what? You got them right up here, trailing you. So you know what? It's time to make the move, and what better to go get the most interesting player in baseball and possibly the best player in all of baseball in Shohei Ohtani. Let's keep things moving though. And chime in, brother. Chime in.
Yeah, actually, I had a question for you.
Yeah, of course. I like questions.
So if the rumors are true, and I'm seeing that, the Angels are refusing to trade with the Dodgers, where do you think that other team may be?
That is a tough one. Honestly, like I said, I think it could be a dark horse team. I've seen Tampa thrown around, but that would probably be like a rental for them. So they probably wouldn't give up a crazy amount. Another crazy potential landing spot that I saw, and this one's probably like a super, super dark horse, is the Colorado Rockies. Imagine the Rockies come out and Ohtani plays half a season in Colorado. Maybe it's just to sell some tickets or something like that, because, I don't really think the Rockies have a chance of, doing much of anything this year with the way they're standing. But you know what? It would be great to see Shohei Ohtani put on a show in Colorado for half a season. But Matt, real quick, you know what? I think we're going to have some extra time today. So same question back at you, brother. If he doesn't go to the Dodgers, where do you have him going?
Honestly, the Rangers. I think
I like that one. I like that.
They have a lot of prospects to give up. Acuna's brother is one of them.
Yes. Luis Angel Acuna.
Yes. So I mean, they have quite a few names, especially with losing DeGrom early in the season and not having him back, I guess, for another year. They're going to need to replace the arm. They need the bat in the lineup, especially with how well they're doing. They're going to make a pennant run, so I don't see how they don't go after and get aggressive to go and try and trade for Ohtani and be the one that comes out on top. Because, I mean, quite honestly, I think he slots in there pretty well, both pitching and hitting. So that's my dark horse team. And if he's going anywhere else, I think it's there. Plus the fantasy implications for that lineup. If Ohtani steps in, just bring up Simeon, bring up Seager, Nathaniel Lowe. Like, those guys just instantly get a step up. And then Shohei just goes even another tier up, because now instead of just hitting with, Trout being in front of him or, Ward, if he decides to get on base, now you have Simeon and you have Seager getting on base right in front of him or behind him and driving him home. And then just the counting stats may be, record breaking for the second half.
Yeah, brother. I think that's a great take. So where are we going with this next guy? Am I taking it? You're taking it?
You go for it, bro.
All right, so let's talk about Dylan Cease and where he thinks he goes. Honestly, there's a few White Sox on today's episode, and honestly, I think the White Sox are going to sell out. I think
fire sale.
Yeah, start over. If I'm them, keep Luis Robert, obviously. I think that's an obvious one, and keep Eloy and kind of just build around them and see where the things go. Maybe C stays, maybe he doesn't, but I think there's going to be some overwhelming offers on the table for the White Sox, and you know what? Like I said, start rebuilding. So I don't know. Did I say it? Did I say that I think he's going to go to Houston? I think that's where Cease ends up. The Astros need a little bit of a boost. Kind of similarly to the Dodgers. They're not the team that they have been for the last few years. They're trailing the Rangers by 4.5 games in the AL West. So what better than to go out and get a boost of Dylan Cease, who's actually been playing a lot better baseball of late. They have a few prospects down there. They have Yainer Diaz. They could even trade Chas McCormick, who's been on fire. They got a couple of other young bloods down in there, but you know what? Even if they wanted to, dip into the rotation, I don't know if I would do this, but Hunter Brown could be an option that gets moved. Who knows? Hunter Brown's been kind of disappointing the last couple of months, but they do have, the names to go out and get this trade done. And Dylan Cease just might need a change of scenery, because I don't know how great the coaching is there with the White Sox organization. Go over to Houston, a known team for building prospects. Look at Javier. Look at Framber Valdez. Even Urquidy is a pretty a serviceable pitcher in the bigs. So you know what? I really think the Astros have to go out and get themselves a starting pitcher, and Dylan Cease could be on their radar.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's 100% going there. I can't see a better fit, and the fantasy implications are going to be outrageous. And before we move on, and we have 2 more White Sox players and a bat from the Cubs that I think is going to go to a really great friendly hitting park, we have a sponsor for you. For championship teams, it's all about making sure that every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure every part fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for a green check next to the part. You'll find that it fits right away, a perfect fit, or you get your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name in the game, and when you shop eBay Motors, it's the same. And with 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home the win when it comes to the right parts, and they're guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on eBay Motors. Let's ride, ladies and gentlemen. Eligible items only. Exclusions may apply. And everydayers and new listeners, we have incredible opportunity for you to help support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks that go along with it. Introducing our Diamond Club on Subtext. Become a member, and you not only contribute to the show's success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury updates, instant reactions, and enjoy direct access to us for all the burning fantasy questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to us. Truthfully, it really does, guys. So thank you. We can't do it without you, and we love connecting with everybody and going down that fantasy journey with everybody that is on the Subtext now. So join the Diamond Club on Subtext today. Let us take your fantasy experience to new heights and get that Everydayers Championship. Whew. All right, Tom. Take it away.
Yeah, Matt. I didn't think you were going to jump in there, but you did a great job, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So let's move on to our next, White Sox pitcher, and it's Lucas Giolito. I think first and most importantly of all, I owe Giolito like half of an apology. I owe him like half an apology.
No. A full.
No.
Bro, you had him ranked like 96.
I did. But still, he hasn't been great though. 3.96 ERA.
Bro, he's like the pitcher of 40. You were off by like 37.
Well, you know what, man? he deserved it after what he did last year. So I'm going with that. I'm going with he was deserving. He earned that ranking. It wasn't just It wasn't just for no reason. I had some facts behind it.
I mean, you had some haterade behind it.
I did. A big sip of the haterade for my boy Giolito real quick. All right, with the haterade in the system. I mean, I'll try and stop hating, but So let's get into more of Giolito. He has turned it around. He run lower ERA so far this year than last year. The Ks are right over a K per 9. We usually expect Giolito there. 119 whip, very, very serviceable. And you know what? He's earned himself, a little bit more value going into this trade deadline. I honestly think the Texas Rangers, as Matt said, they can go out there and they, need to make a little bit of a bolster after losing DeGrom. And they definitely have the guys to go out there and make the trade. You got Ezekiel Duran, you got Owen White, you got Cole Winn, Dustin Harris. They've got a lot of young guys in that system where they can go out. Matt mentioned Acuna, Luis Angel Acuna, Kumar Rocker, who's hurt. They have a very, very good minor league system where they don't even have to trade away, any of those bigger names, maybe a couple of, the mediocre, prospects to go out there and get Giolito. Maybe the change of scenery does him right over there in Texas. He gets to, even though DeGrom's hurt, you still get to learn from DeGrom, which, I always say that Dane Dunning, it's paying off for Dane Dunning, it'll pay off even more for Lucas Giolito. But you know what? My landing spot for Giolito is the Texas Rangers. How about you, Matt? Where do you got him going?
I got two landing spots.
Okay.
One I really don't need to talk about because you pretty much covered it, and that's the Rangers.
All right, there you go.
So you hit on everything I was going to talk about. Here's my other one. This is my dream scenario. This is where I hope he lands, and that's Tampa, even though it's in our division. Every time Tampa goes and acquires a pitcher, they become a ridiculous superstar. So, I mean, you look at Tyler Glass now, you look at any other one that's gone there, and they just blow out. Like, they just completely show out. They fix one little thing, and boom, they're an instant all-star. So I really want to see that. Plus, with the protection of their field and their home park, it's really great. And then on the other side, what I would like to see go to the White Sox would be Kyle Manzardo and Taj Mahal. Like, I would like to see them,
That's a lot to give up for Giolito.
He's 27 though. That's the thing. So like he has an all-star thing. He only had one bad season. He's having a good season now. 28 still. Pitchers pitch till about like 34, 35 with
he's actually 29. His birthday was on the 14th.
Okay.
So happy, I'll be nice. Happy belated, Lucas Giolito. Happy belated.
Yeah, thanks for just getting older. But anyway, anyway, we all can't stay young forever. But anyway, so I do think this would be a great landing spot. I think also too it'll take the Rays to the next level in terms of their pitching. So like it's mutually beneficial if they have to get that job done, especially the way Manzardo has downtracked. I think that if anything, they're going to be able to sneak him in along with Taj Mahal. So I feel like that would be a good trade. That would also be great for them to come over here into the White Sox organization and really take a step forward and get some playing time. So it'd be really great. But let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Lance Lynn, our third White Sox. This is the White Sox segment here.
It's a fire sale.
It really is. I really feel that they're going to sell high on all this, and they have a lot of aging out guys and guys that they're going to lose value on anyway. So might as well move on. Yeah. So I think that Lance Lynn kind of finds himself on the Orioles. There is a something different about the Orioles this year, other than the fact that they're all like under the age of 19 and they all can't drink cumulatively. So they need somebody to go buy them beer at the beer store, and that's going to be Lance Lynn. So, Lance Lynn, I think they need that veteran presence. They need somebody to come in there and really just step up and be another, I wouldn't say ace in the hole because I think we're well past that, but at least the veteran in the rotation that you can kind of count on to go eat up some innings, be safe, help them win the games, and help make that push to and in the playoffs, because I have a feeling they're going to be dangerous this year in the playoffs. So I like them a lot. I like Lynn's landing spot if he lands there. And I mean, there's a lot of avenues that they're going to be able to move and give up. And honestly, they probably only have to give up like their, I don't know, 9th best prospect, and they'll be able to get the job done because Lance
Lynn. Their 9th best prospect is probably still amazing too.
Right. That's the thing. So that's what I'm getting at. So they could probably trade him and then, call it a day. And it is what it is. And, they make out like a bandit. So we'll see what happens with that. I think Lance Lynn would be a great fit on the Orioles.
Yeah, man, I feel like we have too many of the same landing spots at this point, but I have Lynn headed over to Baltimore as well. And you kind of spoke about the trading aspect of it. I just want to talk about Lynn himself. Over the last 5 games, he's rebounded a bit. And if you don't remember or you weren't, paying attention to baseball last year in the second half, Lynn was a top 10 pitcher for fantasy in the second half last year. He's tracking to, maybe not be a top 10, but he could be at least a top 30-ish, starting pitcher for the second half through his last 5 starts. He's thrown 31 innings, 47 strikeouts, a 4.35 ERA, but a 3.74 FIP, which is fielding independent pitching, ERA indicator, kind of shows you where the ERA is trending. So I think, he has potential to have a mid, 3s ERA, big strikeouts. If he goes to Baltimore, potential to win a lot more games. But another stat that I like here was Lynn's last 5 games. He's the 214 batting average against. So you know what? The hitters really aren't, hitting him very well. The swinging strike rate is pretty good at 20%. So you know what, man? I just think Lynn is rebounding fairly well, and any team that grabs him is just going to give him better upside as far as, winning games. So let's move on to our next guy, finally getting away from some White Sox and getting to, some other players here. Let's talk about Cody Bellinger. Now, Cody Bellinger, honestly, another guy that I probably owe an apology to because I had him a little bit too low. Cody Bellinger is bouncing back to that, almost MVP form from, a few years ago when, he won the MVP award. So, Cody Bellinger, I have him going to the Phillies. Phillies could use another, bat in that lineup, and they could probably use an arm too. But I honestly think if they go in, they get a Cody Bellinger type in the middle of that lineup, it's really going to make a big impact. I think him and Bryce Harper are buddies, so that's going to help them out as well. They have spots open in that lineup for him. And, Cody Bellinger on the year, 51 runs, 14 doubles, 12 bombs, 35 RBIs, 12 steals, 311 batting average. So, you know what? That's where I got Cody Bellinger going to the Philadelphia Phillies.
And before we find out why I completely agree and why you think he's a perfect fit, we also have another ad break for you. And we're back. Thank you, guys. So I really do like this landing spot for him, not just because of fantasy purposes, but because of the fact that they're going to be able to get Schwarber out of the outfield defending and get him into the DH.
Well said. Good
so point. From what I'm hearing from Philly Network, because that's what all I hear around here, Bryce Harper should be starting to play first this week, which is 1, incredibly fantasy valuable for Bryce Harper owners, and 2, for the Philadelphia Phillies in general, because now they can get Schwarber's fat rump out of the outfield and stop killing him. And I mean, quite honestly, Bellinger may not be the most consistent bat over the last couple of years, but he's always been a solid glove. So him in the outfield versus Schwarber is going to be great. On top of that, let's look at the fantasy aspects of things. I think that Cody Bellinger is going to really benefit from, just hitting in Citizens Bank Park. Like, it's a great hitting park in general. I think that he's really going to swing for the fences and, really just enjoy the city. He might be the one that pushes them over the top to, go ahead and really open up the scoring and be a little bit more consistent with the way he's playing. I just hope he doesn't lose everything he's done in Chicago when he gets over here and traded, because it could be one of those, my rule, new team, new city. And, you start losing stuff. And unfortunately, that's what the Phillies are going through now. They need an influx, a surge, and I'm hoping he could be the one. So we shall see. So let's move on here. Let's talk about Marcus Stroman. Stroman, I have him going to two places. I'm going to talk about the one that Tom is not picking. So where do you have? Okay. So I'm going to talk about him actually going to the Phillies as well. I'm just going to keep it in-house here. I think that they need a fourth pitcher. I think that he would be great 1 year rental, or maybe even two. I think he's under contract for two. Fact check me, guys. But I think that he would be a great fit. I don't think he's not a long-term play. He's been so up and down, but he's having a phenomenal year. He found something sticky that they can't find. Who knows? But not to start any rumors. But Stroman has been pitching well above par, and as long as it continues, he could be a fantasy contributor. Even if he goes back to what he's done for the last 3 years, Stroman is going to be better than what they have. Behind the ups and downs of Nola and Wheeler and Ranger. Everybody likes Tejon Walker here, but I'm not really too confident in him, even though he's having a decent year. I would rather have them go into a Marcus Stroman role and then be able to go to a 5-man rotation, give these guys a little bit more breaks. Because last year, if you watched them in the playoffs, and now I'm talking more real baseball, it was really disheartening when they had to go and roll out, Syndergaard, and then he'd only go 2 innings and then go this and that and this and that. And it was just really frustrating because pretty much that's a loss that day. And that's what I think that the Phillies organization is identifying, and they don't want to do that. So that's why I think Marcus Stroman would be a really good fit there. And also just fantasy aspect of it. I mean, he's going to be in a better hitter's park, but the team around him is a lot better. So there's a lot more wins upside. So Marcus Stroman, I think, would be great all around there.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, honestly, I think he's a great fit over there in Philly. But I have, the Astros, going out there and getting Stroman as well. Because honestly, they need that boost, man. Like I said, Hunter Brown's not cutting it. Javier's been, really bad, recently. They got Brandon Bielak, and I know JP France has been serviceable, but how long is that really going to last? So going to get Marcus Stroman, I actually think he threw a lot of shade Stroman's way for a guy that pitches to a career 3.55 ERA over 9 years. I know he's not a K per 9 guy, but he's had a solid whip the last 3 years. I think Stroman is a very, very serviceable pitcher, and I think he goes over there to Houston, might get a renewed sense of life. And he's just we talked about all the prospects that Houston has to give up. But I'm a real big believer in Stroman. I think he's very, very underrated, and I think he, is a nice little fit there for the Houston Astros. But let's keep things moving here, and let's talk about Tyler O'Neill, Matt's favorite player in the whole MLB. And this one bothers me because I don't believe in Yankees ownership anymore. If if the old Steinbrenner was still alive, we'd have Ohtani, we'd have Dylan Cease, and we'd get Cody Bellinger too, just to top it off. But you know what? Since his son's around now, not making as big moves as we'd like, I think Tyler O'Neill winds up on the Yankees and does absolutely nothing for us. There's they can mix and match guys and, get a Tyler O'Neill into the outfield or even at DH. The Yankees, just have open spots at the moment. And it's just, it pisses me off thinking about that the Yankees are going to do something dumb like this at the trade deadline. Tyler O'Neill is a serviceable guy, but he's not really what the Yankees need at the moment. They're going to be like, oh, O'Neill has power and speed. And yeah, he did it, for one full season. And then he's never played over 100 games in any other season in his career. But you know what, man? Let's see where this thing goes, Matt. You have O'Neill winding up in the Yankees too, or you got somewhere else for him to go?
Actually, I mean, I'm really hoping that he goes somewhere else. I don't want to see him on the Yankees because, I mean, we already have two outfielders that can't stay healthy for the life of them.
Yeah, just add another one, right?
Yeah. But this would be like another dream scenario for two teams that I think actually need the power boost. And one would be the Diamondbacks. I think that, Tyler O'Neill might slot in there pretty well just based off of the giving them a little bit thing. Put him at DH and kind of fill out that team. Plus the fantasy value would up Corbin Carroll and others on that team. But I'm not going to spend a little bit of time. This is the one I really would like to see him go. And that would be a trade between Miami and the Cardinals because, I mean,
Okay.
Miami has a lot of pitching prospects and just a lot of pitchers in general. Mm-hmm. And their worst pitching prospect is like a Yankees starter. So they are so good and they have a plethora and I think they need to turn around and make a move for a bat. Birdie ain't just going to get it done and neither is Jazz. So if you put Tyler O'Neill out there, if he only plays, 3/4 of the second half and they're trying to make a playoff push, I could see them getting in the mix for Tyler O'Neill. So I that's where I would hope he lands. I think that they might go in there and try and sneak someone out. But this is where I really think the next player is going to go to Miami, and that's Bryan Reynolds. If he gets moved at all, I really think that he might end up on Miami. Obviously Pittsburgh is always in a rebuild. They're the worst organization on the planet. And I truly feel that way. Sorry, Pittsburgh fans. But it's the truth. They refuse to just develop or keep their best prospects. So if they move Bryan Reynolds, which I don't foresee happening, I think it might be to Miami. I think that they'll probably get him. They'll get a lot too. They'll get rid of him. They'll probably go and get Jesus Sanchez, which would be nice for them in that return for a big bat, and then also to a pitching prospect or two that are somewhat of a higher tier. Go out and get Bryan Reynolds. They need a bat, Miami. They can't just do this, like I explained just before, for the Tyler O'Neill fit in. I think, they bring in Ryan Reynolds and, they would have a really nice team.
Yeah, man. This is one where I'm going to disagree with you. Finally, we don't have somebody going to the same spot. But you know what? With Bryan Reynolds, I honestly think this is my lock. If I had to say that any one of these were like really guaranteed, I think Bryan Reynolds to the Dodgers is almost a lock. In my head, he just fits what the Dodgers are. He's like that Dodgers type of player where, he's super consistent. You kind of know what you're getting. I think he's just getting tired of playing in Pittsburgh. At this point, he had a really, really hot start and he's slowed down a lot since then. But, at the last 2 years before that, he was, around 25 homers. The counting stats were pretty serviceable. He's a career 277 hitter. You know what? The Dodgers can always use another outfielder because they're running David Peralta out there and Jason Hayward. I know Hayward's got a decent glove, but you know what? To get Reynolds' bat into that lineup is definitely going to do them some good. So I think Bryan Reynolds to the Dodgers is one that I really, really, I'm really high on that move. But let's move on to another pitcher that I really think just needs a change of scenery at this point, and it's our boy, little Jack Flaherty. He's been so up and down and inconsistent this year, and the Cardinals have just done a real bad job of handling this guy. He honestly should have got, shoulder surgery 2-3 years ago at this point. But you know what? If anyone can breathe this guy back to life, I think it's the Atlanta Braves. And the Braves, definitely can use another starting pitcher in their rotation. I think the Braves pitching coaching is very, very good. They're another team that's known for developing young pitchers. And, Bryce Elder has really started to slow down. Charlie Morton is 40 years old. Michael Soroka's, kind of just been So you know what? Besides Spencer Strider, they really don't have anybody else. And you know what? Let's bring little Jack over here and let's just kind of see what happens. Jack Flaherty to the Braves. That's my prediction.
I like that. I like that landing spot. I do kind of see him fitting well there, but I actually hope that he actually ends up on Houston. I think if they miss out on anybody other names that we mentioned up top, or they just weren't able to fill out their rotation through trades, Jack Flaherty might come at a discount because of how up and down he's been, how hurt he's been over the last couple of years. And selfishly too, for fantasy perspectives, if they can get him on their roster and turn him around, I mean, the sky's the limit with Jack Flaherty because Jack Flaherty has all the talent in the world. They just got to get him right. And Houston Astros have taken pitchers that were hurt or pitchers that were like mediocre from other teams that had the stuff. They figured out exactly what was wrong with them and then fixed it, and then they became all-stars. So I think Jack Flaherty would be a great fit there. Let's talk about this last guy. This one's
Matt, Can I throw something at you real quick?
Yeah.
I know we're running a little bit long, but I just thought about this. What about Jack Flaherty for Vaughn Grissom? And then Vaughn Grissom goes over to the Cardinals and plays shortstop. I like that. But all right, let's get this last guy, and then we'll keep it moving. We can talk about that later.
Oh, my God. You just gave me a fantasy Woody.
I like that.
All right. Let me move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Eduardo Rodriguez. So my pick is more sentimental than anything based off of the trade rumors I'm hearing. I'm hearing that they're going the Boston Red Sox are trying to reunite with him, and that would be cool. I'd like to see him go back there and see what they could do. It's funny, we haven't talked about the Sox getting into the mix at all, but I could see this happening. You know, he has a rapport with the team, the city, and I also see where he could slot in real nice. So I think Eduardo Rodriguez could go there. The fantasy value is going to be pretty much, equal. I don't think he gets hurt or benefits from going anywhere, except for the fact that he may get a couple more wins being on Boston.
Yeah, Matt, honestly, when I saw that you were going to say that, I was like, you know what, that's actually a solid landing spot. I kind of like that better than where I have Erod going. But I have Erod going over to the Twins. I think the thing is the Twins are in first place. They're kind of holding on by, the hair on their chinny chin, 2 games over the Guardians, 5 games over the Tigers. So they're going to have to make a move, in my opinion. I think they go out there and they possibly get a bat as well. So, some of these bats we talked about, maybe they'll be in the plans of the Twins. But they definitely need a starting pitcher, not definitely. They actually maybe don't even need a starting pitcher. But you know what? They have a lot of injury-prone guys there. It's Lopez and Kenta Maeda can go down literally at any second at 35 years old.
The wind comes in from the east and they're done.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know what? Maybe they give up one of these pitchers in that trade. You never really know where things go. But I think the Twins are going to go out there and make a move. This might be my least lock. Like, out of everything, this is the one trade that I'm not really that confident in. But you know what? I had to throw Erod somewhere, and I kind of threw him to the Twins for now. Honestly, the more I think about it, the less I like it. I'm kind of leaning towards what Matt said with the Boston one. I kind of really like that, actually. But guys, Matt, unless you got anything else, we're gonna wrap things up here, brother.
Yes, sir.
So that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, our everydayers and new listeners, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Be sure to look out for a new episode on Monday where we talk about the best must-add players from the weekend. But guys, until Monday.
Peace.
See ya.